proposed onshore turbines that we're expected to live with in our communities. So have a look at that and just think it's only 6 metres long, and the blade span on most turbines are 100 metres on enormous towers, not on a thin cable like we have here. But it gives you an idea of what we're having to live with. Anyway, it's great to see you all here today, representing your communities and making your feelings known to the Scottish National Party regarding the increasing devastation caused by wind farm developments, not just here in Perth, but across the whole of Scotland. If all members of all the groups across Scotland had been able to afford to make the journey here today, Perth would have been gridlocked. Many of us have read or seen on the internet how thousands of people are suffering or are threatened by the destruction of their local and wider environment by wind farms across the whole of the UK, Europe and the world. A lot of us have been able to research the viability of wind energy ourselves. Some of us may have thought it was a good idea once, but we've soon changed our minds. The facts are out there, so if we can, as mainly lay people, find out the truth, why can't the people who govern us do the same? With growing numbers of scientists, engineers, economists and environmentalists all opposing industrial wind farm developments, why is nobody at the top listening? Here today we have the SNP meeting, no doubt patting themselves on the back and congratulating themselves for being in government and imposing their policies on the people of Scotland. The SNP need to start listening to people in rural communities and find out what is really happening out there, and they need to do it fast. Holyrood cannot lay the total blame of the wind farm fiasco at the doors of Westminster, much as the SNP would like to, because they are responsible for planning and where wind farms are sited, and we all know how fair and democratic the planning process is, don't we? In addition, our First Minister has set the most ambitious targets for renewable energy in Europe. While the UK only aspires to 15%, Alex Salmond wants Scotland to be producing 100% by 2020 with no upper limit. Both the Westminster and Scottish Government set the subsidies to encourage development and are therefore responsible for the supplements on energy bills. With more than 6 million households in fuel poverty today, it is appalling we are all being forced to pay for such an unreliable and uneconomic energy source as wind. If the governments had to fund these subsidies out of their budgets, there would be no wind farms built because of the subsidies would have been slashed a long time ago and there would be no lure of easy money for the developer. If a supplement went to helping a new viable technology, that would be different. Most, if not all of us, are passionate about the environment, and that is why we battle to protect it. We welcome new ideas and solutions that help us to use less energy and reduce our bills, and reduce our dependency on fossil fuels. Wind cannot be a part of that. It is too expensive and unreliable. It is a highly visual, tick-box exercise, so the politicians here in Scotland and in Westminster can puff themselves up and say, look what we're doing to save the planet. Well, let's just take a brief look at what they're doing, shall we? They are offering excessive rewards to developers to build wind farms in our communities and precious landscapes, even though most of us don't want them. That is our money they're offering. They are allowing the wind farm developers to offer huge rewards to landowners for simply having turbines on their land. That's our money they're offering again. The same developers offer the communities a monetary benefit, which even politicians now openly call a bribe, to try and gain support and secure planning consent. That is our money they're offering back to us. They are allowing multiple proposals for wind developments in places that shouldn't even be considered. They are allowing extensions to developments before the original is even constructed. They allow proposals in areas close to where developments have been fought successfully by communities, and this means the same communities have to battle all over again and spend years of their time. They are putting massive burdens on the resources of councils and other consultees like SEPA and SNH. Where there is local opposition which is supported by their councils, there may be public inquiries. Councils have to spend even more of our money defending their objections and fighting developers who insist on relentlessly pursuing their proposals despite overwhelming local rejection. Tens of millions of pounds is spent, money that could be spent much more effectively in our communities. How long do you think it will be before these councils and consultees will find they can't afford to object to developments? And who will speak for the people, the environment and the wildlife there? What else? They allow developers to be, how shall I put it, economical with the accuracy of the information they provide to the public. It would appear no one checks out what is shown at public exhibitions. That means the turbines in the photo montages may not look as large and dominating as they will be. The computer-generated images shown for the proposed view from somebody's home may not be quite as shocking as it will be. Some developers produce leaflets that show a piper or a tractor in the foreground and a turbine looking not much higher behind. That's clever stuff. It's going to make people think it won't be that bad, so maybe they won't object. Will they have to take the turbines down when it clearly is that bad? No, of course not. If you take a look at the blip, it's a bit higher than a tractor, Mr. Salmons. Things are changing, but too slowly to protect some of our communities and landscapes. Talk to your neighbours and your friends and your families and show them where they can go and find the truth. Tell them it is costing them dearly for something that is painfully inefficient and that pays the owners of wind farms mind-boggling amounts of money if they generate, and even more if they are asked to switch off because of low demand. Wind is uncontrollable and the grid is not designed to cope with such an unreliable energy. For every megawatt of wind installed, we need a megawatt of backup for when the wind doesn't blow. Not one conventional power station will be closed because of wind, as other countries have discovered. Wind farms do not make nuclear power stations redundant. So here, we're making a noise and you need to start listening before you turn even more of the Scottish people against you. Thank you all for coming today, making a noise and stamping your feet, and I hope you've all managed to have a good look at the blimp and can now visualise the shocking height of the proposed onshore turbine. I would also like to thank all of you who made such a great effort with your masks and costumes, and we'll be handing out some prizes shortly. Thank you for listening.